All right, y'all, today we are going to talk about Europe, specifically Eastern Europe, okay? And this is also known as Christendom because this is where Christians live. But we're going to be talking about the Byzantine Empire and Kievan Rus. Now, the Byzantine Empire was what was left over of Rome that was not conquered by the Germanic people. Emperor Diocletian had split the empire in two. When the Huns and Germanics invaded, they took the western portion, but the eastern portion remained, and it was called the Byzantine Empire. The capital city was Constantinople, which was built by Constantine, but it becomes much more important later on, and it's the center of trade and culture in the Byzantine Empire. There was one really famous king named Justinian, and he tried to restore the Roman Empire, but he failed. He tried to reconquer all the land that Rome had once ruled, but he did conquer a lot of it, but he was unsuccessful. The Muslims took back territory from him. He couldn't fully conquer the Germanic people. He did do some other things. One, he made the Justinian Code, which is where he took Rome's laws and he applied Greek philosophy or Greek reason to them to make them better. So he tried to improve upon Rome's laws. And then he also started to increase architecture. And one really good example of this is the Hagia Sophia, which you see here, was really advanced architecture, and they actually created the first domed ceilings as well. In the Byzantine Empire, they had a type of Christianity. There's a split in Christianity, and they followed Orthodox Christianity, also called Eastern Orthodox sometimes as well. And in Orthodox Christianity, the Byzantine Emperor was the religious leader of the time, so it was a theocratic government. And his words were considered divine. Whatever he said is going to be religious truth. People could pray directly to God, which isn't really a foreign concept to Christianity, but it's important to note because it separates it from Roman Catholicism, which we'll talk about a little bit later. They also believed in grace, but promoted morality. They wanted people to follow religious laws because that would provide order to society and keep it functioning in a manageable way. You could also gain salvation after death. So once you died, you could still be saved and still change whether you're going to heaven or hell. Now, there was a lot of trouble in the Byzantine Empire. They were constant threats from invasions. The Germanic people from Western Europe constantly tried to invade and take over. There's several examples of this. One's even during the Crusades when they're supposed to be fighting the Muslims together. The Germanics came and invaded. And one of the reasons why, because the Germanic people were not nearly as advanced as the Byzantine Empire, so they wanted the goods that they had. But they also were threatened by the Muslims who tried to attack them as well. And Constantinople, their capital city, had to be heavily guarded. They actually had 3 sets of walls, and on the outside that was a moat. It's one of the most heavily guarded cities at this time. Constantinople was right here. Because it was the center of trade, that was where most of their goods were, and that's where the greatest threat was. Now, another civilization that began is Kievan Rus, which is really the beginning of Russia. They just didn't call it Russia at that time. And Kievan Rus is just north of the Byzantine Empire. But it started as merchants from the Byzantine Empire traded with Scandinavia. I'm going to flip back to the map just a second. Here's the Byzantine Empire, and here's Scandinavia. Okay? And then as they traveled between it, Kievan Rus started to develop here. So in the year 1980, King Vladimir unites the boyars, which are basically just the nobles, the landowners in Russia. And he's going to create a unified civilization. Saint Cyril is going to spread Orthodox Christianity. He does this by creating an alphabet in the Russian language, and they're able to translate the Bible and people start learning about it. But even Vladimir converts to Christianity, and he converts to Christianity as it's rumored because it was the only religion that let him drink alcohol. He liked to drink. The Mongols did conquer them for a brief period of time, and this sort of separated Russian culture, Kievan Rus culture, from that of Europe. They were Christian, which sort of gives them a connection to the rest of Europe, but because they were conquered by the Mongols and controlled by the Mongols, they didn't quite advance with Europeans as well, and had a separate culture altogether. So that is Kievan Rus and the Byzantine Empire.